Welcome to my workshop. You are watching Casual DIY channel. In today's video I want to touch on some basics when it comes to woodworking. Mainly I want to talk about three things: rabbet cuts, grooves and dados. I'm going to tell you what are the differences, what uses these cuts may have, and how to do them on a table saw that doesn't have a dado blade or can't actually take one in. So check out the video. Alright then, let's start with the dado cut. Dado cut is a three-sided cut that's across the grain of the wood, okay? And it's very easy to do it on a table saw. However, the size of it will be in a way a little bit limited. Usually to do a dado it's much easier, especially on larger panels, to actually do it with a router. However, I'm going to show you two ways you can do it on a table saw. First of all, you can use some sort of a sled if you have got one for your table saw. And as you can see, it's a fairly easy and quick process to do. However, if you can get a flat top tooth, then the cut itself would be a lot cleaner, more or less with the usual blade where the teeth goes like that. You may have a bit of a cleanup, like in my case. I would probably have to go through with a chisel just to make sure it's nice and without any of the ridges around. But that's how you can do a dado cut without a dado blade on the saw itself, if it can take one, like mine for example. Well, yes, that's a dado cut across the grain of your board. However, to do this cut on your table saw, you don't really need a sled of any sort. You can just use your miter gauge that usually comes with the saw anyway. And as you can see, you can make these cuts as wide as you need and as deep as you need, depending on what type of material, what size of material you will be putting in those dados. So it's a perfect solution for a joint, as you got three sides and a lot more gluing surface. Plus, if it is a shelf, you've got additional support, so the stability will be a lot greater. Plus the gluing surface, it's much larger. So perfect solution for a shelf or anything else if you're building cabinets or boxes of some sort. That's a very good solution for that. Alright then, so what is the difference between a dado cut and a groove cut? Well, a groove cut is like a dado three-sided cut. So you got left side, right side, and then the bottom surface. However, the groove cut is with the grain, whereas the dado, as we've seen, is across the grain. Okay, so again, it's a fairly simple process to cut this out on a table saw. We just need to follow the grain on our board, and like before, you can set the depth of your blades to whatever depth of the groove you need, and then you just need to move the fence itself left or right, each cut depending on your setup, to get the correct width to accommodate the board or panel you will be inserting in that groove. So let's make the cut. And again, as you can see, it's a fairly simple process, and this time around it's a little bit easier to accommodate a larger panel, as you've got a bigger leverage on the table itself from your table saw, and it's just easier to run a longer board. So this would be quite good if you, for example, were installing a back panel in a cabinet, but obviously the groove will be a lot thinner, as most of the cases you'd be installing a 3 or 4 millimeter back panel. Or actually, if you are building a box of some sort, that would be very handy. Again, a lot more gluing up surface and a lot stronger joints compared to other solutions. And now finally the rabbet cut. Okay, so what is that? Basically, it's a cut that's on the edge of your board. You can have an edge rabbet or you can have an end rabbet. So that goes with the grain or against the grain. For example, I've got a rabbet cut, edge cut, that goes with the grain. But as I said, it can go across the grain as well. Now there's a couple of ways of cutting this on a table saw. So you can use a sled to do that depending on the size of your board, and we're going to do an end rabbet here on this board. And that's your end rabbet there, and that's your edge rabbet. And there you go. Again, fairly simple to do, obviously depending on the size of your project. Now I do have a full dedicated video to creating rabbet cuts, different techniques and a safer way of doing them depending on your setup. So that video, that link is down below in the description of this one and in the pinned comment. So go ahead and check that video out if you want to learn a little bit more on rabbet cuts. But that's all I wanted to share with you. Sometimes the lingo when it comes to woodworking could be a little bit confusing, and I hope with this video today, with the information I provided to you, it will be easier for you to understand some of the woodworking projects that you can find on YouTube, and it will be easier for you to just understand what is happening. Now let's just recap. Rabbet cut, that's at the edge of the board or at the end of the board, and with a rabbet cut you will have two sides. Okay, so the bottom and one of the sides, so that's your gluing up surface. Again, quite a lot of it, and that will make sure you're gonna have a very nice and strong joint. Dado cut, that's across the grain of the board, and that has got 3 faces. Again, super strong joint if you want to use it in your projects. And a groove cut that's with the grain, has got 3 sides and a lot of gluing up surface. So if this video provided you some good information, then drop me that like button down below. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing, as I already have a lot of videos when it comes to woodworking education and some basics. So if you are starting your adventure with woodworking, you are definitely in the right place. On top of that, I do have plenty of cool videos on these 2 playlists here, so click on those and maybe you'll find your next video to watch. But for today, thank you very much, and I hope to see you on one of my videos there. Take care.